Yes. First of all, World Vision is a huge organization. They manage something like $3 billion a year. They have tens of thousands of workers around the world. And this event gives us an insight to one of the most complex issues Israel is dealing with. And this is the use of human rights organizations as a channel to move and allocate money to terror organizations. And the BDS, for example, the organizations who are behind this is, of course, the terror organizations. And the way they manage to allocate money is work through different organizations that are opened as human rights organizations.
Now, Amir, you're touching on this, right? I mean, there's hundreds of millions of dollars coming in here. This is World Vision, just one of the organizations that's made this a priority for them. Do you expect a case like this to have any impact on these funds for Gaza, or simply not? Is it just too established of a humanitarian issue of a cause at this point?
Well, I think that, again, this is one example of a much broader problem that Israel, and not only Israel, the free world, the U.S. need to deal with. There is a huge difficulty to monitor these donations. I mean, think about it. We're talking about one organization, $3 billion a year, tens of thousands of workers spread all over the world. In this case, this guy was the manager in charge of the operations in Gaza, and he allocated the money to the Hamas. Now, the question is, how come World Vision didn't know where the money is going to? What kind of auditing, what kind of control an organization like that has on what's going on the ground? Now, this happened in Gaza.
Yeah.
It can happen in other places as well.
With less
different
attention.
kind maybe of corruption, maybe not terror. But this is one organization. We have many of those.
What's the impact on the ground, though? I mean, as we're looking at this revelation, who may not even pay attention to it here, but does this create new measures at the border or affect the issues with the IDF security at all? Does this factor into sort of how Israel is dealing with Gaza?
No, I don't think this issue is an issue that affects the IDF. But at the end of the day, when money and large sums of money are allocated to our terror organization, we know where this money is going. It's going to tunnels, it's going to rockets, it's going to fund terror activities. So obviously, one of the ways you deal with terror is drying the flow of money to the terror organization. And this is one of the things that...
so far, virtually impossible so far, at least as Hamas is in control. As you mentioned, difficult to mention to maintain any real impact there, as Hamas has got the virtual sovereignty in there. But I want to ask you, while I've got you, I got to ask you about Hamas. I mean, it's been a pretty quiet chapter, one of the quietest, in fact, in recent memory. No incendiary balloons, no real rockets, no gunfire, at least not too much around the border area. What's going on with Hamas right now, motivating them to keep this quiet? Is it the money?
Okay, so Hamas is in full-scale build-up of its capabilities. They are trying to rebuild the long-range rockets. This capability was hit very hard in the last operation last year. But their strategy is at the moment to try and build up not only the military forces, but also the Gazan economy, while focusing on building terror cells in Jerusalem, in Judea and Samaria, and also strengthening the relations with Israeli Arab cells inside Israel, what they call the 48 Arabs, which they see as part of their organization.
15 years right now to Gaza control the Gaza Strip. Are they stronger than ever in relation to Fatah, the Palestinian Authority?
Well, we have to understand Gaza today is a completely different entity that has nothing to do with the Palestinian Authority and what's going on in Judea and Samaria in this sense. Now, because Hamas has challenged Israel many times and shoots rockets and is becoming a strong force, they are becoming the dominant player in the Palestinian arena. And they're also becoming very dominant in Judea and Samaria. So basically, if today we would have elections in Judea and Samaria, in the Palestinian Authority, Hamas would have won easily. This is why Abu Mazen is not doing any elections, because he would lose.
Certainly all
and the same goes for the way they are managing to affect Bedouins in the Negev or some elements.
Trying to appeal to all these communities. Amir Avivi, all the things I was afraid you were going to say about the situation with Hamas. Of course, I think we all know it, and I'm glad to hear that our defense establishment has its eye on the ball as well. But Amir Avivi, thanks for being with us on the topic.
Thank you very much.